Welcome to the Overheard Podcast, recorded live in Banff. My name is Daniel Ruedl. With me always is my co-host,
Matty Rage. Let's go.
Let's go. If it's your first time joining us, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Every little bit counts. We look at the analytics every week. Bunch of people swinging by for the first time and not joining us for the long haul.
No doubt.
Yeah.
We got like 70% of people that watch aren't subscribed. So it's easy, man. Click the button. Let's go.
Do us a favor. Hit the like and subscribe. We get plenty more episodes like we're about to jump into. Very special guest today. Thank you so much for joining us. Chip, current town council member and candidate running again for re-election. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for letting me join you today. I appreciate it.
Right on. Before we get too far into things, we're going to check in with our friends over at Drink Shaft. We'll be right back with you in about 20 seconds.
Let's go.
A third person.
All right, we're back, baby.
We are back. Autumn in Banff hits different. You got crisp air, golden larches, and early sunsets. We're going to keep that mountain energy going with Drink Shaft, the non-alcoholic, all-natural espresso energy drink made for the adventure lifestyle, which we have here in Banff. Fall is all about fresh starts, cozy vibes, staying sharp. That's why we're going to fall into Shaft. Clean energy for everyone. It's now available in over 800 stores across Western Canada. So go get yours today. Seasons change, but Drink Shaft always stays the same.
No doubt, dude.
Oh, dear. I got far enough.
That's all right. Yeah, available at Townhouse Liquor. You can get them at the Rose and Crown. Big shout out to them. Thanks so much for joining us, Chip. If you're out there listening and you don't know Chip, we have a bit of a biography. So a little bit of background for our guests here today. Chip moved to Banff in 1977 at the age of 22 for just a summer. I think something we all can relate to there, and never left. Today, Chip and her husband are proud longtime locals, 2 sons and a daughter-in-law and a grandson that live in Banff, a daughter, son-in-law, and 2 granddaughters that live in the Okanagan, so nearby. The call to serve took shape in 1983 in Nepal's Himalayas after summiting Damas Peak. A fall in the descent led to 3 days in a tent at roughly 5,400 meters awaiting rescue and reflecting on purpose and community. Those that don't know, spending time up at that altitude can be quite detrimental. A pretty wild story. We could touch more on that in a bit. Evacuated by Anu Sherpa and a team of porters, Olver later learned the ankle was broken in 2 places. That ordeal became a turning point and a promise. Live with gratitude and contribute more at home. For a decade forward, Chip supported Anu's family to help educate his sons and is now a medical doctor, and the 2 other are entrepreneurs. So helping support the family of people that saved you, that's amazing. Work life spans computer programmer, analyst at CMH, campus life facilitator at Banff Center, lead for the town of Canmore's 1997 census, plus years in hospitality as a restaurant manager, bartender, and in food service, often at 2 or 3 other jobs. I think a lot of us can relate to you there. Civic roles include multiple turns on Banff Town Council from 1994 through 2025, past president of the YWCA of Banff, past chair of Green Communities of Canada, past chair of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Climate Change and Sustainable Development Policy Committee. Bit of a mouthful. Former FCM executive member representing the Prairies and Territories. Recognition includes the King Charles III Coronation Medal and the Alberta Municipalities Distinguished Service Award. Wild. Please welcome community builder and long-serving town councilor Chip Olver. What a resume.
No doubt.
What a mouthful that was.
Right?
No doubt. I let Dan read those.
I had to practice that one a couple of times. I'm not going to lie to you. That's for sure. Let's start at the beginning. Came for a summer and never left. What's kept you here the whole time?
I was talking to my son about this yesterday, and really you can say it so quickly in that I love it here and I fit here and this is my place. But I did come before that first summer when I moved here in 77, I had come and camped the year before on Tunnel Mountain.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And it was the long weekend in September. I had a girlfriend that was working in town and I'd come to visit her.
Cool.
And it snowed. The tent collapsed with snow.
Yeah.
Looking out the screen window one morning to see what the noise was. And it's a bear walking so close to the tent that you think it's going to pull it down. You know, it was really cold and I didn't have enough clothes. And, you know,
Oh, yeah, been there.
at the end of that weekend, I said, I'm coming back.
And still wanted more.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There was kind of the weather we had this week with the snow and all the trees kind of almost coming down. It was quite the adventure to get out of the house the other day.
Yeah, right out front here was quite damaged. If you were camping this weekend, you might have found yourself in a similar situation.
Might have brought the wrong jacket, eh?
I remember going to the campsite and I went, where's the tent?
It's flat.
Just flat into the ground. Oh, God.
Wild. Since you have so much experience in Banff, you know, raising a family here, all that, what advice would you give to someone who wants to stay here long term?
I think it takes a while to really build your roots in the community. And for myself, I found that volunteering, like getting involved, getting out there, getting to meet people, like not just the ones that you know at work, but a broader selection. Mm-hmm. And there's also, I think, and probably still now, a period of time where you make good friends and you're doing things and you're having fun and you have a buddy to go out with or go hiking with. And then they move away.
Oh,
you know, and then you're at that, oh, well, the person I used to hang with isn't here anymore and I need to find more friends. And it gives you an address book with people around the world.
Absolutely.
So, for sure.
You know, if you ever want to travel, that you have people to look up. And,
yeah.
you know, 20 years after one of my friends left, she was back in town and looked me up. And,
amazing.
You know, I went to Japan and stayed with somebody there. You know, so, and now I'm sure lots of people are doing the same with their Aussie friends. You know,
100%.
Yeah.
Going back and forth. But I think you just have to keep building your connections and your roots and it becomes more and more your place, you know, and then there's this, I think it was like 3 years that I thought, oh, I'm really rooted here. Like this is my place. And I'm sure others have this happen to them, but your family says to you, when are you coming home?
Oh yeah. Every time I call my mom. Yeah.
And you might say, well, just one more season. I want another hiking season. I want another skiing season, you know, and I think your first commitments happen season by season and then they grow to year.
Absolutely. I think like as a longtime local, you kind of hit a point, like you have to come to terms with the fact that a lot of your close friends are kind of going to come and go.
Yeah.
That can kind of build into some sense of like closed offness where you're maybe a little less likely to let people in and like gain those close friendships. But I think that kind of drops after a while. It's almost like
you hit that plateau where it's like because like so many of like your short-term friends, you would call them, like they're just, you know, here for a couple of years. You go through so much of that you just like start, I don't know, your friend group kind of changes from like transient to like I've been here for 12 years or I've been here for 15 years. Like that kind of ends up being more of your friend circle, like the longer that you're here.
I think you drive a good point, is coming to terms with that and still continuing to open up your circle to new people. Right? Like that is probably a good the tip in this for long-term success, is to kind of to not be jaded by that, like, oh, you're just gonna leave, right?
Yeah.
So
and do you think it gives you a broader group of friends too? Because perhaps in a large city, you could find like people who were more like you in your exact interests.
Right.
But in this community, the friendship spreads to different ages and different interests because you have known them over a number of years.
For sure. And I would think just like by default, by the fact of not having family here for a lot of us, your friends become that much closer, that much quicker, right?
Yeah, the old Friendsgiving just passed. Happy Friendsgiving to everybody.
I like that name. Yeah.
The orphan Christmas, you know, you just kind of go to your buddy's house and you have turkey with everyone there. And that's kind of your new fam jam.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you about a time I almost left.
Absolutely.
So let me tell you about my education first, because it will make sense in that context. So I went to university in my hometown. I stayed at home. We didn't have enough money for me to move away.
Okay.
And I was taking just general interest the first year. And then towards the end of the year, I spoke to a professor in computer science, and like he charged me, and I knew I wanted to take computer science.
Yeah.
And my university didn't really have a specialized degree in that.
Mhm.
So I wanted a merge of computer science and business. And I had to go to the deans of both faculties and say, this is what I want to do. And will you help me? And they said, yes. And so I was there for years and I had no idea which faculty I was going to graduate from.
Yeah.
And on the science part, to get the computer courses I wanted, I had to take honors mathematics.
Oh, geez.
And that was hard work.
No doubt.
And as soon as I got all the pre-requirements for my computer courses, I did drop out of the honors math stream.
Mhm.
And in my final year, the dean of the faculty of science said, okay, you're going to graduate with a science degree.
Yeah.
But they were fabulous in helping me. But so like I have this analytical, mathematical mind, right?
Mhm.
So I'm in Banff, I'm working at CMH, and I'm thinking, I want to establish a relationship here, and I want to be in it long term, and I want to have a family, and I don't know if it's going to work for me here. So I went to Stats Canada, and I looked at the age demographics for my age, and I thought, oh, there's way more women in town than there are men. And maybe I have to leave town in order to have those life choices that I want. And so I applied for a job in Vancouver. I guess I was really desirable because 3 people flew in and interviewed me like less than 2 weeks later.
Wow.
A week later, I had a firm job offer to move to Vancouver. It was in a computer science area with a restaurant I had worked at going through university.
Mhm.
And when it came time to give my notice, I couldn't do it. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay here in Banff. And I thought to myself, I might be giving up some of my life goals to do that, but
Mhm.
this is where I belong.
I mean,
I think that's most of us here.
100%, right? There's certain things that come with living here, right? Like
Mhm.
you can't have it all, right?
Well, you
Well-
got to cut and it's not even like you're sacrificing
No.
I mean, I could be somewhere else working in a different job doing something else, but like at the end of the day, do you really want to be somewhere else? It's like,
Mhm.
I don't know, man. There's something about this place that just kind of keeps you here. Like once you fall in love with it, that's pretty much it. It's over, right? Like
I had a very similar story, but I went through with it and I went to Vancouver and actually moved there for a little bit. And I didn't really enjoy my time there, honestly. And it wasn't about the city I think it was more about going from a small town and a small community back
Mhm.
into a huge city
Yeah.
and, not bumping into people at the grocery store and not having that community connection, I think
Yeah.
is
And just the smiles, because you know
Yeah.
a face on
Yeah.
the street and you haven't even met them,
for sure.
but you
Right.
just know their face,
Yeah.
and so there's that connection.
Absolutely. Excellent. Obviously, you've been on town council, like we mentioned in your bio,
Mhm.
for quite some time. What stands out as the biggest change in Banff over time since you've been here? And how can we use that to make better decisions today?
So I wrestled with that one because there's the
There's been
mountains
a
have been
lot.
constant,
Yeah.
but there have been lots of changes in the community. And what I decided to focus on was seasonal businesses, because we still see that a little bit today. But when I first came to Banff, the Banff Springs Hotel had only just started staying open for the winter.
Oh, wow.
Wild.
Yeah, they used to be a summer-only business.
Mhm.
Other restaurants would always close after the Labor Day long weekend,
Mhm.
and they'd reopen towards Christmas. And,
Mhm.
so staff turnover, people would save the money all summer, and a lot of them would choose to travel at that time.
100%. I remember those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still see that to a smaller extent
Mm-hmm.
today, where businesses aren't closing, but there's a slump in business. And I know that Banff Lake Louise Tourism has been focused for a number of years in trying to expand year-round business. And so it keeps people employed, it
Yeah.
keeps them in their housing.
I would say arguably like they've done a great job at filling in those gaps,
Mhm.
right? Like we talk about overtourism and we will talk about it in a little bit, but the shoulder season, quote unquote.
Oh, it's gone. Even over the past 10 years, like we're still as busy as we were in the middle of July. Like
This past
it's-
weekend was busy.
It's,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like it,
So
it just
October
doesn't slow
after
down anymore.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
still is busy.
Like
But,
maybe, this might be a little slow from now until again, it depends on what the weather does, right? Like if the snow hits, then we might get that early rush of that's what I mean. Like our shoulder season itself it used to be months, and now it's like we might have a slow week or two depending on where you work, right? But seasonal business has changed quite significantly as far as like regulations that have changed in the town, right? There's more like rental businesses with bicycles and that type of stuff.
Okay.
Right?
I was wondering what you were meaning there.
Where I was going.
Yeah. And so there's year-long employment now, you know, and that makes a big difference to the livability of the community, be able to pay your rent, put food on the table,
For sure.
and, you know, get your ski pass. That's important to you.
What's your own personal experience been in the housing market here in Banff? How does that affect how you view it? Are you a renter? Do you own?
Everybody has their story, right?
Yeah.
And when I first came to Banff, I arrived here late at night. I did know somebody here, and I drove across Canada to get here. And I slept in my car, but only one night. You know, and my girlfriend, who was working in town, allowed me to sleep on a camping mattress on the floor in this old basement, rustic. It's a nice way to describe it. Accommodation. And I slept with a sheet over my head because there was mice. And I didn't want a mouse running across my face at night. And it wasn't that easy to breathe, but it was the trade-off for nothing scampering across my face. And so I was really motivated to find another spot to live. And I didn't have a job at that time. My neighbor across the street had been hired by the Banff Springs Hotel and couldn't come. So I went into the Banff Springs Hotel and I said, hey, my neighbor, whose name is, was hired to work for you this summer and she couldn't come, but I'm here and I'd like her job.
Amazing.
And I knew they had staff accom, right?
Oh, smart.
And they said, oh, well, you know, we always overhire because some people don't turn up. So I left a resume, but I found another job after that. So I didn't want to keep sleeping in the hallway. So I went a door knock campaign. This is one of the streets I came down.
Oh, nice.
And I just knocked on doors saying, do you have any place to live? You know, I'm here. I don't have a job yet, but I have enough money to carry me over. I can pay the rent. And I had some doors just closed in my face. I had one lady's not only close the door, but before she closed it, she said, just go home. And literally slammed the door.
Wow.
And you kind of go, oh, do I want to keep doing this? But I did. And so I finally got so cold that I was going back downtown to get a drink of coffee to warm up. And I went by this one house and it was big and it looked like, you know, maybe that's the type of place that would rent rooms. And I knocked on the door and it was. They rented rooms and they had one available.
Nice.
Amazing.
And they just converted this little sun porch they had into a room. And it had a bed that was like that fold-up cot.
Oh, yeah.
And it had like a little rail for clothing like you see at retail stores.
Okay.
Yeah,
A little table and a little hot plate. And it was fabulous. It didn't have curtains yet. It was just newspaper on the windows. So I just peeled the top part off so I would have, you know, privacy area and let daylight in.
You can see.
And it was one of those, you know, you share the bathroom with many others. And, you know, you often want to clean it before you use it. But it was fabulous. Fabulous.
That's pretty wild. So for all those people out there that are maybe on social media, like on Facebook, you see this all the time, they'd be like, moving to town, like looking for a place, like basically advertising themselves for a place to stay. Could you imagine going door to door and knocking
I think
for
that
a
might
place
be a
to
different
stay?
situation
That's
these
another
days.
level. Like,
I think these days that might be a different situation. You
Yeah.
might not get
There
the
wasn't social media then.
Right.
You know,
I
so
know.
so that
Like,
wasn't a choice.
that's what I mean. Like,
Mhm.
like finding housing back then, going door to door.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I
And
can
it
imagine
worked.
doing that.
Yeah,
there you
it
go.
worked.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, putting yourself out there in the community,
Mhm.
face on the ground is always, I think, a good way to go
Yeah.
for sure.
And I want to go on a bit more because
Yeah, let's please.
I moved a lot.
Uh-huh.
You know, you wanted to, you know, get a kitchen or you wanted to get your own bathroom.
For sure.
And so you continually move and you listen. Like I know I was sitting in a restaurant and the people behind me were talking about their friend leaving. And I turned around and I said, excuse me, but where was your friend living and has somebody taken it yet? You know, and I
100%.
found a place,
nice.
you know, and so you keep moving up. And then when I got the job at the Banff Center, and it was after my trip to Nepal as the campus life facilitator, it had been advertised in the paper. And when I went to apply for like what I thought was the ultimate place, the person renting said, I saw that job description in the paper. And if you qualify for that job, I'm going to rent to you.
Amazing.
And so I got into, and that was my last rental place before Jim and I met Jim, and Jim and I got a home.
Yeah.
So I had debts. Jim had a savings account. And my debts were my commitment to Anu and his family to send money every year. Sorry, sometimes I get emotional. That part.
No, please. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Going for the Kleenex in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was able to buy it. We weren't married at the time, but had plans to get married and married after we moved in. And it was an old Bankhead house, one that had been moved, like
cool.
a small little Bankhead place that
Amazing.
had been moved into town in 1920. So now it's over 100 years old.
Cool.
And my son, daughter-in-law, and grandson are living there.
Amazing.
And when we had our third child, we wanted to expand it a bit and couldn't. The structural engineer that looked at the basement supports just laughed and said, there's no way you can do it. And if you've ever been to Bankhead, you've just seen that poured concrete and know that it's not a big support. And so Jim and his buddy built our house.
Nice.
They started the week our third child was born. We moved in 11 months later. And Jim says, I know the reason for every deficit in this place. And it makes sense to me.
Well, that's
and
quite
so
unique.
Really fortunate. Like, I know how lucky I am to have a home in Banff. I know how lucky I am to be able to help my family with their home in Banff. And, it's not there for everyone. But I really appreciate.
Well, that's the thing. It's like people are quick to shame people that are maybe bought a long time ago, that they're not as in touch with the housing situation as it is today. But I think having a family, right? Being able to help them, well, of course you would.
Yeah.
No one would not do that.
Oh yeah.
But it's refreshing to hear that you kind of came through the same woes as us. Like I did the same. My first rental was a walk-in closet at Northwoods.
Oh yeah, you're one of the closet bros.
Yeah, I
okay.
was living in on a single mattress in there, same thing, couple shelves. That's it. Couple Australian roommates. It was a pretty wild time, But
and you're happy to have a bed.
that's it. And if you love this place enough, you find a way to make it work, right? We've seen the needle move on housing since we're on that topic, with multiple projects in the works, right? 50 Wolf Street, or Dockside as we're calling it, due to our current council. So we owe a thank you to you and tip our hats to you, of course, for the steps that have already taken place. What's the next step into solving the housing crisis? We made some bold claims, 2040 as a prospective solving date.
I think the next step is a bit of patience.
Because
we have a number of development permits in.
Right.
The first units we've seen built are really units within people's homes or accessory dwelling to provide accommodation. And because they were small builds, they were the first ones.
Absolutely.
And a number are built and occupied already.
For sure.
Our other developments are bigger developments, and they're going to take longer.
Yeah,
of course. So we're talking major infrastructure, like major developments, Dockside, or kind of anything related to the Housing Accelerator Fund.
Yeah.
We're talking in years and maybe potentially decades.
Yeah, well,
right?
the Housing Accelerator Fund, some of the conditions of that fund is you have to do a certain amount of housing by the end of 2027. And we're going to reach that.
Okay, perfect.
We are. And some of it's affordable, and 50 Wolf Street is going to meet that criteria of the fund. But the bigger projects are going to take a few years to build. And once you get your development permit, you go through a bit more of a process until you get your building permit.
Oh yeah, for
and then your building permit is good for 5 years. So you can get to that point and not build right away. And so that's why I say some patience.
For sure.
That we'll need to have. And then just so everyone knows, in early 2026, there is going to be a report coming to council reporting more thoroughly on the amount of parking that's being provided, if there's any unintended consequences of the policy that that we've already developed so that we can have a look at it. But we must maintain what we promised in the Housing Accelerator Fund because that's how we got the money.
For sure.
You know,
Okay.
yes.
And
And
I'm glad you
wanted
brought
you
that
to
up
be
because like
bold.
some people are pretty up in arms. I think unjustly, but again, everyone is due to their own opinion about the easing of the parking regulations, right? Like this is what has allowed us to have access to the Housing Accelerator Fund money. And like this is kind of a big point of conversation. What would you say to those that think it's a slippery slope or
Well, Banff's not the first community to do it. Edmonton did it a number of years ago.
Oh, okay.
And so they've been followed. And there's other Canadian communities. It's been much more extensive in the United States. So I wish I could tell you the website to go to take a look at it. So we have had some developments come forward with minimal housing. And we have some, like at the development permit stage, who's applied for more housing than would have been required under the previous bylaw. We have monitoring that's happening this side of the bridge, so the north side of town, on the majority of streets, happening in the summer at the dense parking requirement time of the year, during daytime and evening, to see what's currently happening with parking on the street and what changes might be happening so that we can anticipate if things that we can do, like perhaps the resident parking permit system. The streets adjacent to downtown are resident only parking during the day, and then there's a further limitation at night that you have to live in that neighborhood to be able to park overnight.
Yeah.
And so as parking changes on our streetscape, we can look at that data that we've collected, because I do like making informed choices, informed chases.
With a computer
changes.
science and mathematics background, you would. Yeah, of course.
But also anecdotally, we're going to hear from people. You know, so that system is something that could be expanded to a broader neighborhood, because before and after analysis of those streets showed that a lot of parking stalls opened up in those neighborhoods when they weren't being used for overnight visitor parking anymore.
That's it. I think
So we're sensitive to it. We're paying attention to it. It's going to be monitored constantly. You know?
I would agree. I think it's maybe a bit of not an over exaggeration, but maybe quick to point the finger at this being an issue. It's like, it's got to be a give and take at some point. I would rather give up some parking to get more housing. I think, like I said, I've mentioned this before. My home is a perfect example of a lower density unit being taken down for a higher density build with limited parking. Now, there isn't a parking stall for all residents. Not all parking stalls are full ever.
Okay.
So it's not really like,
that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
not really a problem. Like, and it's not everybody in Banff is going to drive or have a car.
And it's
like,
easy to like point that as like this one thing is the issue, but if that's the one thing holding us back from getting housing, like
yeah, let's do it. I need a place to live. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, and there's also other things that the town's doing to make it people less dependent on vehicles.
Right.
Rome Transit is free.
Oh, for sure.
True.
You know, people on our access program for low income families, regional transit is 90% off. You know, there's been a huge incentive program to get people onto bicycles. Big uptake in the communities that are on the other side of the bridge and have that hill to go up
for sure.
With electric bikes to help them get around. And we have increased walkability with more intersection shoveling and sidewalk clearing. And, you know, there's a path that goes from Mount Edith House to the downtown that we maintain to help people who are challenged, like with the snow and the ice.
For sure.
To get downtown. And while there's another unit that we know houses a lot of seniors, and there's been commitment in the wintertime to keep those sidewalks and ways open. And then one thing that I really like, because I advocated for it, are those cleats that go on the bottom of your shoe.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and so like it's not a big rebate, but $20 or $30 like is a lot of money to somebody.
100%.
Right.
And it's a meal. It's a you know, it's a night out with your friends or whatever.
And if we want people walking in the wintertime, it has to be safe.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I really like that program, even though I know it's very there's a lot of administrative time to
Yeah.
offer it. But
I've been
think
pretty
worth it.
critical of snow removal on past shows myself.
Mhm.
Dude, like down by Northwoods, like I lived in Northwoods for 11 years, and like one of my buddies came out from Ontario to ski the one day, and he's like, what the, pardon my French, is like, what is with the goddamn road? He's
Mm.
like, it's like this, and it's like 2 feet thick of just solid ice. He's like, do they not have snowplows here? I'm like, this section of town is maybe slightly more neglected than some of the downtown nicer areas.
Mhm.
Is like a way you could put it. Like there
Okay,
used to be
is a
no
map.
side. Yeah, there used to be no
Of-
sidewalks out there. Like there's basically no snow clearing out
Mhm.
there.
uh,
There's no street lights. Oh, well, I guess now with the hotel, it's pretty bright there. But
mhm,
like sometimes you walk down there, like it's fucking dark, man.
mhm.
It's like you come home from the bar and you're just like, I can't see. I
Take-
hope there's
take
no
your
cougars.
headlamp.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess
think
you've
there's
got your
no
cell
cougars,
phone, but
That's
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, I guess everybody's got cell phones with flashlights now. But
yeah, and
Yeah,
there's
it's
some
just wild.
routes I choose to walk because they're better lit.
oh
For
yeah,
sure.
But for snow clearing, just if you don't know already, there is a map of the town, and the streets are colored.
Mm.
and-
okay,
Access to school is one of the priority routes.
Right.
Mhm.
The downtown areas are priority route.
Yeah.
And then it starts to fan.
Out
from that,
outwards, fair.
And if we have a snow event and those areas are cleared and they're in another neighborhood, and then we have another snow event, they
They
have
gotta
to
go back.
Yeah.
to
and
the high
restart,
priority
Yeah.
routes. And,
well, it's just like in Ontario, like the slightest hint of a dusting of snow, they're like
Mhm.
salt trucks, snow plows, like just
Yeah.
bury everything in salt, no snow allowed on the roads. Out here, it's like, yeah, what? It's winter, man. What do you want? Like, there's, yeah,
Mhm. And the rolling street,
oh yeah,
and that area of town, there's a really high water table.
Mm.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's a lot of freeze and thaw
Yep.
under the ground.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's so challenging on streets. So as streets are redone, there's actually extra insulation that's put in to reduce that impact.
cool.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good to know.
My issue lies more with residents or homeowners being tasked with doing their sidewalks within a foot onto the street. It's anarchy. And like I watch this older gentleman walk to and from his home every day, and like in the winter, it looks really tough on him, you know.
Mhm. And
Um,
there is the seniors bus too.
For sure.
You know, like, so, and
Yeah.
if you need to get to a medical appointment, like as a senior,
Mhm.
the town offers taxi passes.
Okay,
also.
cool.
Oh, very cool.
So there's ways to support
Fair.
people, but and the walking aids like the cleats and things, but it is a challenge to get
For
around
sure.
here in the winter. And even young active people like my daughter-in-law fell on a snowbank and broke her ankle
Yeah.
a few winters ago. You know,
I'll find myself on my backside at least once or twice a year, just kind of out of inattention.
Mhm.
And sometimes I wear Blundstones, and a lot of people wearing Blundstones out there. They're Australian shoes, like they're super slippery on the ice.
Oh,
So like, be mindful of
They
that.
don't have the winter treads.
That's it.
that, hiking boots. Good
Moving
treads.
on a little bit, let's move on to over tourism. Obviously,
Mhm.
huge topic surrounding this election. What are your thoughts on the term over tourism, and do you think it's a problem we're faced with here in Banff?
The World Tourist Organization has a definition, and in fact, I wrote it down so I could read it out. But
Please do. Yeah.
I didn't bring my reading glasses, so I might not be able to. Okay. Their definition is a destination suffering over tourism when large number of tourists leads to decline in quality of life of residents and negative experience for visitors. So, and we have those words already in our community plan. We don't use the phrase over tourism,
Mhm.
but declining visitor experience and resident experience as we try to go out to the park, you know, talking about the impacts of busyness, noise, GHG emissions in terms of, you know, vehicle congestion
Right.
For sure.
specifically. And so we are trying to address that, but there's challenges in
Mhm.
addressing that. But yeah, there's times of the year where we're so crowded that some people choose to leave town if they're able to
For
leave
sure.
town,
For sure.
and others know to take the back roads if you're walking
Yep.
downtown, or the alleyways, or go for your groceries in the morning, not at 4:30.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Not that all of us don't out up there at 4:30 going, I know better than this.
Oh, I think we've all been there. It's like I
100%.
just need a couple of things, and you
Yeah.
walk in, you're like, damn.
Uh,
Like,
I just think it's like it's interesting to get people's take on it because we are a tourist destination. So to throw around the term over tourism, it's like this is what we're all here for. And when we discuss things like the shoulder season and how it used to be and how things are now, quality of life for residents and visitor experience is always kind of the juggle, right?
Yeah.
And I think as the visitor experience starts to suffer is kind of when we start to talk about it a little bit more. Like quality of life for residents
Like,
sometimes.
Yeah, like if I could not be here at all in the summer.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
You think I'm wrong?
Yeah, because other candidates have probably told you about our community social assessment program.
Yep.
And so it is so robust. First of all, it's tied into the timing of Canada's census. So we have the demographics for the town as it's being done. It takes a year to do the community consultation.
Okay.
Because they reach out in every way they can, and then they look at the groups that they've heard from. And if they haven't heard from certain groups that we know are in our community, because the demographic information has told us that, they purposefully reach out to those groups.
Amazing.
And, there's always questions being asked, well, I'm not a voter, do I count? Well, absolutely you count, and we make sure to reach you. And then, so it happens every 5 years. The needs are identified and steps are taken every year and they're reported on. You know, when there was a concern about the physician shortage, there was a group that came together and helped to work with the current doctors in town and, what could be done to help recruit. And, one of the employers in town or hotels in town came up with a room for doctors that come in to cover for other doctors so that they have a place to stay. And, so the town helped bring the community together to deal with that issue. And that's what happens with our community workers. That's the type of thing they're charged to do. We see so many food programs. The town's not the only one offering those, but the town is involved in those. We see, I think I mentioned earlier, the access card that gives you discounts on programming. Yes, let me think of more because there's more.
So maybe there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes than people realize or that people think about when we're mentioning these things of quality of life, or maybe people aren't taking the active steps to use the services that are provided to them.
They may not know about them, but
Fair.
A lot of it, like once someone discovers it, it's like I told 2 friends and they told 2 friends. And it spreads, but, to try to get all the information out. But please, residents, don't feel that it's only tourists. Because it's not, like this is people's homes. This is our hometown. This is our community. And there's a lot of focus given to that. Yeah.
I just find like for myself anyways, like in the summer, I would rather just not go downtown at all. Like if I could just go to Mexico for the summer and come back and work for the winter, that's seriously like I would. I just like sometimes like you walk out of work and you're just like, oh my God, I get it why you're here, but please get the hell out of the way. I just want to go to the grocery store, get a bag of chips and go home. Like it's
I don't mind it.
I don't know, man. For me, I don't know. It depends. Like I'm not. It's not like I don't like crowds, but like sometimes it's just like, how do I put this politely? The general stupidity of the average tourist is just like so extraordinarily way far above like my stupidity tolerance level that I'm just like, I get it, man. You're on vacation, but can you please move like over now?
I mean, people
or like
go on vacation to turn their brains off a little bit.
I know. We all do it.
You're relaxing, and when you. I'm going to speak up for
no worries.
That are here. Okay, so because it's me sometimes too. You go someplace. You're looking for something you don't know your way around.
For sure.
And so you're seeking directions as you're moving.
Yeah.
But you're also struck by where you are, right?
For sure.
And you get a glimpse of a mountain and you kind of stop and then your brain goes silly because you've lost track of what you were supposed to be doing. Yeah. But as a visitor in other places, like it happens to me too.
100%.
I think it's just like it's just those those days you had a long day at work, you just want to get home and you're like, please get the hell out of the way. Like there are people that actually live here that need to do shit today. Like it's just
I want to walk quickly.
It's like and then you got like people just doing it's like at the ski hill on a weekend, you got the people from Calgary going like this down the run, and you're like, I just want to get by you, man. Like if you could stop doing that, that'd be
As much as it's frustrating, like I kind of like the the dichotomy of it where we have the crazy busy months, but like if you go out today, right now that the long weekend's over, you go to the grocery store
There's
today.
probably not much going on.
That's what I mean. Like we're just about to get it back. I think we're just on the end of that busyness. It's
been a long summer.
That's it, right? Like maybe the sentiment right now that we have is just a little bit of that busy summer. Like, talk to us again in 2 weeks or maybe in a month, and like personally, I like the.
I want to come back to Matt on this one.
Please do.
Do you find, like, if you just step out of the business area, like maybe you get to a treed space or you get beside the river, and you just like you look around, you take a breath, like,
it's
do you
great.
find that just like calms you and gives you
for sure
much?
For sure. You just got to get away from the people and get through those people to get to those areas. Is all I'm saying. It's just like I get it. Like. Townside is busy, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's just a group of tourists that just like a large number of tourists that just come here just to like walk downtown. It's like, I think who was it that said that it's like, if you're coming to Banff to walk Banff Ave, you kind of missed the point of the national park altogether.
It was to have a burger on Banff Ave.
To have a burger
during the Ped Zone.
Yeah, have a burger on Banff Ave is like just. It's like why? Like you could literally do that anywhere else. Like I get it, it's beautiful, but like you're kind of missing the whole point of the entire park, right? Like
it's just a weird shift to like Instagram tourism now, where people
they want to get there.
They just want to go take pictures. Right.
I had a burger on the rooftop and look at the mountains.
I think there's nice things happening that invite people to leave the downtown with the trail system, the river trails,
100%.
with the 2 pedestrian bridges, and I used to say that if I ever won lottery, that I was giving some money to the town to build a pedestrian bridge.
Yeah.
And so now we've got 2
of them,
I get to give that to my family instead now. but that was, something that I was thinking of, and that would really enhance the community, and it has.
Absolutely.
Because you can like step off onto that river pathway. There's art in the park there in the summertime, which is so inviting.
And it's kind of opened up a new little area by the river near the first pedestrian bridge of like a lot of locals are hanging out down there now in the summer. So it's kind of like opened up a new like public use space as well, right?
And you can do like a bridge walk, which is where our dogs often get walked.
I always link them both in for sure.
Oh yeah.
So I really appreciate that and hope it gets residents and locals out, and it gives many residents an easier way to get to work, especially if they live on the south side.
They don't have to use the ice bridge anymore, the infamous ice bridge across it. Oh yeah, just walking across to the park.
Yeah.
Back onto over tourism a little bit.
Okay.
It's been thrown around a lot of solutions, especially to over tourism when it comes to traffic and congestion. Vehicle caps have been brought up as possible solutions. Reservation systems have been brought up as possible solutions. Would you ever support something like that if it was deemed necessary, and what would it look like?
Well, it's interesting because I have been laying motions down on the council table and getting support for a number of years, but I've really been addressing them to Parks Canada because Parks Canada can control roads and access, and a municipality cannot.
100%. Jurisdictionally is
And we've seen them do innovative things in Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, and I think the increasing strength of the motions is to show that Banff is ready for some initiatives. And so much of our congestion is vehicles going to the attractions on Sulphur Mountain.
Right.
So they're going to the upper hot pools or they're going to the gondola, and they drive up because they think that parking spot's going to be there for them, and it's not.
No.
And, they've analyzed how many cars go up to the top and turn around and come right back down. And you see those orange signs like in the middle of the road in the summertime.
The signage has gotten so much better.
That has had a great impact. The parking is full.
Right now.
Don't go up there. Park and take transit. So messaging around transit and getting people out of vehicles is strong. When you talk about a cap, I wanted to come back to that one.
Yeah, because that's been like...
You think of some of the examples, and I'm going to look to like the national parks of the state. Because there's some that have intercept parking on the outside, and you have to take a bus in to experience it because there was too many cars. And their challenge, like ours, is we only have so many roads. We have a fixed boundary. We can't build more roads. It's not desirable to build a road network to deal
We
with
also
the
have
congestion
Canada's
and not
major
possible.
highway too, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
you can't
we're-
limit people. They're like you can't limit the Trans Canada. You can't tell people you can't stop. Right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to do it like on the
Mm-hmm.
access points to town, like is the only way you could really do it, right? Like you can't tell people they can't come through the gates if they're
they need gas,
Yeah,
they
they're-
need a meal,
yeah.
they're, whatever. But also, it's not just Park Canada. I mean, it's nice as one level of government or order of government to point to another and say, solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because you kind of duck.
For sure.
The issue, we have responsibility for it too. And Banff Parks and Banff Lake Louise Tourism have been sending really strong messaging about plan your trip, take transit. The On It bus partnership to come from Calgary
Mhm.
was one of the first ways to
Oh,
get
right.
here.
Yep.
But now there's so many
Dude, the bus
transportation
bus from
companies
Calgary
that
is
are
like
bringing people in.
$25.
Flix has,
Yeah,
I
they're-
guess I shouldn't name them all, but they
Free
have,
promo for
I
them.
probably couldn't name them all too.
Yeah, no.
But, they have adjustable pricing based on when you book. And
For sure.
so there's more ways to get here without a vehicle.
Right.
And we just have to keep looking at that because our visitation numbers keep increasing.
100%.
And we have to anticipate and deal with what those challenges are going to be.
Yes, especially with the new announcement of the Canada Strong Pass being extended.
Sorry.
They're doing
okay.
another year?
Yes, there's going to
Up
be.
to Christmas, isn't it? Like
It's going to be
Oh, okay.
reinstated for the Christmas season.
Yeah.
I think going into the whole next year for 2026.
mhm.
So
Jeez.
we've talked about locals are like up in arms. Like I think our friends over at Bow Valley Insider, big shout out, made some posts about it, and the comment sections are insane of people opposing it,
Mhm.
especially that live here. But it's, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, one big challenge with that is that the proceeds from that paying
That's
enter,
it, right?
stay in the park for them to deal with their maintenance and
Right.
their planning. And so we need to reinvest in the park. A lot of
Mhm.
the park facilities are showing the wear and tear.
So where
so
does the
many
money
years
where does
of
the money
love.
come
So,
from if
so
that's
how
free?
does that money get replaced for their budget?
Mhm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But also for one of Canada's national parks that already has heavy visitation, it might make sense to be excluded from that.
Yeah.
And so that the other parks that need
Can
the
get more
visitation can get
visitation.
more.
Right.
I got
Great.
to stop at, darn, I'm forgetting the name.
Well, like there's no shortage
If
on
it comes back
visitation.
to me, I'll tell you. A southern Alberta, it's got an east and a west side. That's embarrassing.
It's okay.
But when I stopped there and went into their visitor center, it was late August, and they were saying they had more visitors than they ever had before that year,
Amazing.
and they'd had 25,000 people. So
Yeah,
there's
we'll get that in the morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's parks that increase visitation, like they can handle those numbers, and it
Yeah.
would really be supportive
Right.
of them, and paying fees to get into them is going to help them make the park better.
Well,
for
that's
everyone.
it. Is like
Yeah.
a lot of our woes stem down to like financial issues, or like, oh, we need more money to do this, more money to do
Mhm.
that, and it's like stop letting people in for free, like,
Mhm.
or at least exempt. Maybe
You could charge literally $1,000 a day to come here, and it would still be just as busy. It does like it literally doesn't matter. It's Banff. Like no one cares. They're coming here regardless. Like if you saved your whole life to come from overseas to come to Banff, like you're gonna pay it. Like it. You know what I mean? It's
there was talks too about a tiered type entry system where I think the article I read was about Japan implementing this in their national park system, where there was a price for Japanese people or people from the area, then there was a different price for people coming from overseas. Maybe something that could be explored with our national park system or with Banff specifically, because we don't really fall, or Banff Jasper, like we don't really fall under the same situation as all the other national parks of Canada, just
Right.
due to our insane numbers, right? So great point as far as maybe excluding us in that could be a way to further promote other national parks while dealing with our own internal issues.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, it's going to drive me crazy about the name of that park. And my phone's turned off and it's tucked away, so I can't even look it up, and I will get it to you at another time.
No problems at all.
Okay.
What are some of the strategies that the town can implement short term, like we discussed a couple, to deal with traffic congestion in the summer? What
Continued efforts on what's already happening. And it's funny because probably current councillors and candidates will be saying continued effort because it's already started.
Mm-hmm.
But also I like to think of the term continuous improvement, that we have to just keep enhancing what we're doing, and we will have some success, and have seen some success. But we know that numbers are going to
keep going up.
And, if you look back to the history of Kananaskis and look at what their visitation is getting
Right.
now,
Mhm.
one of the reasons for establishment of Kananaskis was to be an outlet for all the visitors coming to Banff National Park to have
Fair.
another area. And now it's dealing with visitation
Mhm.
beyond its capacity.
Oh, yeah.
We're ahead in how we're addressing things here in Banff. We've had a longer run time to
Yeah.
deal with it, but
Very true.
people have rediscovered nature. I think partially COVID, partially new arrivals at Calgary or new immigrants to our country
Mhm.
are coming out and seeing why we live here, like what
Yeah,
it
no
gives
doubt.
to us. And
For sure. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want to be here, right? Like, I guess that's kind of always my response to people who, like, especially tourists, are sitting in my seats at my work or whatever, and they go, "Oh man, sure is busy here," and you go, "Yeah, sure is nice, huh?" And it's like, we're all here because it's beautiful. So
Mhm,
it's just a
mhm.
funny conversation to have as far as like that line, right? What is that line? When it comes to overtourism, where does the train station ARP, or not overtourism,
Mhm.
but as far as moving people, right? Where does the train station ARP fit into that vision?
Well, that's pretty interesting because it's a step back in history. Like if we start bringing trains to the
Mhm.
community as a way for people to get here, and so they don't have a vehicle,
Right.
and the Moving People Sustainably report,
Mhm.
talked about multimodal transit hubs. Well, to me, that means you can get into town. Perhaps when you're there, you're encouraged to walk downtown as you
Fair.
are from that parking lot. There's bike rentals. There's a way to keep moving. When the early days of town, where there was no vehicles in town, it was train access,
Mhm.
or you rode your horse here, or
Yeah.
you slogged it to get here. And it was about 1910 or something like that, where there was a road of this built that was sturdy enough that you could actually get vehicles into town,
Yeah.
and so the whole way to get to town changed at that point.
Right.
And when this is like an old time story, right? When the first vehicles came to town, they had to have a blanket in their car because the horses, which were the primary way of getting around other than walking, didn't know vehicles. And so the blanket in the car was to shield the horse, like to help calm it down. You cover its eyes. And
Oh, yeah.
If
you
it's
folks out there who have horses, and if I'm doing this wrong, tell me on the street. But it was to help the horse deal with the
Like,
impact of a vehicle, the noise and the movement and things
interesting.
like that. And it was, I don't know how many years later, I used to know when that was repealed. You didn't have to have a blanket in your car anymore.
To calm down another person's horse if they were freaked by your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a revert back to moving. I don't know,
Yeah.
like the train.
So to go to today,
Yeah.
a train is a way to get people here without vehicles.
Mhm.
So that's very attractive for our community, and that's a longer term. We know it's really active work on it,
Oh, yeah.
but the more immediate way is with buses.
Yeah.
Because you can increase those numbers quickly.
Mhm.
Have quick market response to that,
Right. Right.
and with all the long term investment and development of a train, we know we're not going to see that in the near, or probably not the medium term, the longer term.
For sure.
Yeah.
Huge long-term
Mhm.
project.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to address, like it would definitely address, I think, international visitation. Because if
Mhm.
you're coming in from the airport internationally or even from other parts of Canada, you land at the airport, you hop on the train, you get a beautiful train ride, from Banff. Maybe you're having that historical experience. You're having that time for messaging so we can inform Matt's tourists so that maybe they know how to navigate a little bit
Well,
better.
when people are,
That's what I mean.
there's such an education opportunity,
That's it,
which so
right.
much longer than the moments you spend coming into the park at the park gate, where they have so much information to pass along. If there's a longer time to get here in a controlled space, then you can educate. But I also want to talk about other ways to get around the town and the increased pathways that I've already mentioned, and the support for bicycles and encouraging people to walk and trying to make it more walkable year round,
for sure.
As a way of moving around our community, because that's an important part of not being car dependent. And then I'm really looking forward to the car share program that we're working on.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Because then you have access to a vehicle. And I have a family member in Toronto and a good friend in Ottawa, and they both belong to a car share program. And I've seen them both use it, and I've used it with them.
Yeah.
They don't have cars.
Yeah, fair enough. You walk in and get a car when you need one.
And so that's a way to reduce vehicle needs in our community too.
Very true. So a very interesting pilot project. When is this being?
We're going to see report
Okay.
in the new year. And I'm
Excellent.
sorry, I can't give you more than that.
It's probably more of
I'm not
a
sure
new
when it's
council
coming.
focus when you guys reconvene. When it comes to the train, what would be your main concerns as far as infrastructure building in the national park? We talked about having to potentially rebuild like wildlife overpasses. We've talked about potentially laying new track adjacent to the existing ones. We've talked about wildlife concerns. Where would your concerns lie in this project?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like.
Yeah.
I like that historic train station is going to be maintained and look good. And we're already seeing that. But,
Nice.
You've been here for a while. You can remember the days where it wasn't maintained and how poorly it looked.
Oh, yeah.
I like that there'll be more of a sense of arrival to the community. And I'm just going to contrast it to the other way of coming into town. Like when you get off the highway at the other entrance, you're on a road still, but there's like all these trees. It just feels like a beautiful gateway to the community. And I'll often choose that way to come into town, even if I'm coming from the other side, because I like how it transitions me to the community. So I think it will be a more welcoming way to come into the community. You'll still get that fabulous view down the tracks. The concern is wildlife movement. And I don't know if others have gone into this, but within our national park, valley bottoms or the montane land are only 3% of our national park land.
Wow.
And that's where we've chosen to develop. And that's where animals like to move.
100%.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Banff is in where a couple of valleys intersect. So it makes it hard for animals to get around us. And so there's not just the wildlife corridor, like I have Cascade, 40 Mile, there's a Middle Springs area. Another name, that it's not cut
Indian
the tip of my
Railway
tongue.
lands.
Yeah. Well, so we saw the airport closed down, the cadet camp relocated in order to facilitate movement through that attractive valley bottom
north
land.
of the highway.
The steeper slopes aren't as attractive for animals to move. And so we've got the Cascade corridor, we've got the highway, we've got train tracks, and we still have animals who need to keep moving. And so the concern, I think, is the wildlife corridor and the proposal for parking on the other side of the train track where there isn't parking now. And as a councillor, I felt that I couldn't decide what that impact would be. I'm not a naturalist, a biologist. I don't have that background, but I have that interest and support.
For sure.
And that's why council really stressed the strategic environmental assessment that's done on behalf of Parks Canada. And like Banff National Park Management Plan has to go through their strategic environmental assessment. And what's really key in that process is they look at the cumulative effects of a development. So they're not just looking at, here's this piece of land, here's what the land use bylaw says, here's what's happening within the land use bylaw,
Mhm.
check. They look at what the cumulative effects are. And that's what's, I think, really important to occur. And I'm watching for that to be posted online
Nice.
because it's not just community consultation, it's Canadian consultation on
Mhm.
it because I want to comment.
For
And
sure.
It hasn't come up yet. Or if it is, I haven't found it.
We're all still, I think, awaiting
yeah.
that environmental assessment to come out. We talked about it with Mayor Corey, and
Mhm.
I think that's going to be the biggest point. I think that's the biggest opposition to the whole project is the impacts on that wildlife movement north of the tracks. Again, it's been vowed to be protected or beautify. What was the
Protect,
word?
mitigate. I mean, there's
Yeah.
different ways to look at it. If it becomes parking, is there a way that animals can still flow through it?
So I think if those
Yeah.
concerns were met, I think
Yeah.
there would be less pushback from,
Yeah.
especially the environmental
Mhm.
side of things.
And it's hard to fight an environmental battle. I just have to say this because
Yeah.
you fight a battle and you win, but it's a temporary win.
Mhm.
Because the big developer can come back again years later. And I'm not talking Banff specific, and because it's really something I heard David Suzuki say.
Okay.
That the environmental battles are never over because you win, but then they're just waiting for you to calm down, to lose interest, to look away,
100%.
and
fair
come
enough.
back at it. So yeah,
And we can see those concerns with environmentalists and naturalists that are in Banff currently, kind of that fear of what they've stood for in the past being
Yeah.
forgotten about.
Yeah.
And-
Right.
yeah, and things that are blatantly obvious to them,
Mhm.
and the broader community, even myself, is saying, but I need the SIA. Like I need that cumulative assessment. Like
Mhm.
I just can't make a decision without that.
For sure. Well, I mean, that makes me happy to hear you say that. And I
Yeah,
think,
dude.
people want that representation from our council to have that sense of ecology does matter to a lot of us here,
Mhm.
and it should be
And that
forward
ties
in our
right into the human use management plan because
100%.
that's looking at ecology,
Mhm.
visitors, and residents' quality of life.
Of course, we
Right,
spoke to
so-
that like briefly
Yeah.
with Grant, and
Mhm.
something I think revolutionary that we need to look and lean more into as
Mhm.
we go forward into the next
Mhm.
term, because
Yeah.
finding what we're looking for and creating our vision around that
Mhm.
imperative.
Well, we've already put Banff's stamp on it by not calling it a visitor use management plan
Yeah. No, dude.
because we recognize that people that live here, the people that commute here,
Mhm.
have impacts also.
It's a
And
very
so
good distinction.
the phrase human use management plan is less known around the world.
Yeah.
But I think it applies to us.
I would agree with you there.
Mhm.
As we're on the topic, the next town plan has a lot of those factors in human use management. We talked about ecology, train station ARP, all these kind of things all factor into the next town plan, how we move forward over the next 10
Destination
years.
stewardship.
Yeah.
Big part of it as well. What do you think are the most important points of that plan? And what are some gaps that you think may need to be filled?
In the community plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's all important,
Mhm.
because there's so many areas of focus.
Yeah.
Quality of life, on transportation, on emergency preparedness, balancing the economy and our visitors. So there's a lot
Mhm.
in there, and they're all important. If I got to pick 5 things,
Yeah.
for immediate, and I'm not saying others aren't important, okay,
Fair.
but I really want to see, and I think it's 5, the emergency preparedness stuff,
Okay.
Mhm.
top of mind, moving forward.
Mhm.
We did so much this summer, and we were
A lot of
so
work.
lucky this summer
Mhm.
that we had the weather
Oh,
that
no doubt.
didn't need us to switch from preparing for a fire to dealing with a fire.
Yeah.
Well,
You know-
even with the weather we had, Moose Meadows fire,
Yeah.
very close to town, less than
Yeah.
40 kilometers away,
Mhm.
and an area that had been fire smart, an area that had been mitigated before.
Yeah.
And again, we saw great success in mitigating that
Mhm,
situation, which
mhm.
could have turned
Yeah.
very quickly.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
The reintroduction of fire
Mhm.
as a management technique in the national park was a really important transition.
Interesting point.
And early wardens would be in their cabins, and if there was a fire, that was their job to
Mhm.
respond and put that fire out to protect the park. And
Right.
there was a lack of knowledge at that time about how important fire is to the landscape. Like our knowledge, our
For sure.
Oh yeah, right.
multi-generations, thousands of years of visitors from our
Mhm.
indigenous communities
Yeah,
knew that,
big time.
but we lost it for a while,
For sure.
you
And fire is a part of living in a forested landscape.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it's terrible when infrastructure and people get in the way, but it is a part of how this
Mhm.
ecosystem works. And
Mm-hmm.
it's important to acknowledge that
Yeah.
and be ready for it, because our friends to
Mhm.
the north, I think we're learning some big
Yeah.
big
Okay.
lessons from them.
Okay.
Big shout out to our friends up in Jasper.
Yeah. And you have to stress, as much as you do, you can't eliminate all the,
Oh yeah, no doubt.
so we have neighborhoods that have worked so hard, and the whole Fire Smart program
Mhm.
and the roof sprinkler system.
Yes.
And the roof sprinkler system is really interesting because a resident sent me a link to a community that had done that.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
very
I
cool.
thought, oh, this is really neat. And so I brought it to council.
Amazing.
But in the meantime, I had this lived experience because you guys know, and many people listening know, that Jim and I are real canoe
Oh yeah.
fanatics, right?
Yeah.
And love our summer trips into the northern wilderness of Saskatchewan and Manitoba mainly.
Mhm.
And so this was on the Barrens River in northern Manitoba. And we were paddling through a landscape that had been burnt. And you speculate, like, why did that part burn and that part didn't? And it didn't jump the river here, but it did there. And
Yeah,
like, you're just wondering about fire movement.
for sure.
We came around a corner and there was this island that was completely green.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Completely green. And you think, there's fire on both sides. Like, how did it miss this place?
hmm
And we're looking and there's this really nice home there. Like, this is,
Oh,
way
yeah.
north and
Oh yeah.
northern Saskatchewan, and there's a nice place. And we go around the corner and there's not nearly as a luxurious looking place. And there's a man standing on the dock. And you go, like, we usually go like 10, 14 days and you don't see anyone,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So there's this man standing on the dock and he's got a cup of coffee in his hand, and we pull up to say hi. And he's at a fishing camp there. And I asked him, I said, like, this is so interesting how this island is green and everywhere around is burnt. And he said that the fellow who had a really nice place also had a plane. And when the fires, before it reached that area, he flew his plane up and he set up a sprinkler system on the island.
Oh,
And that's what saved his own home and the fishing
Hmm.
shack lodge
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
also. So I had the residents send the information. I had a personal lived experience with it. And I just thought it was something that would be really good for our community. And you don't do anything alone. Like, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
bring an idea forward alone, but you have to have the support of,
Yep.
of your colleagues, and everyone supported it.
very cool.
And it builds right into the Fire Smart program that, we embraced really early in this community.
Absolutely.
And our fire department at the time and our protective services now, which embraces the fire department, are really proactive. Like,
For
these
sure.
are leaders
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
in Alberta, they're leaders in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And we're often referred to at the provincial level for people to come and talk to our people about what we've done.
True.
Our partnership with Canmore and
Right, right.
Parks and the MD and Kananaskis and Lake Louise, in terms of our all response to fires
Mm-hmm.
and our emergency services. And someone's probably said this line, 'cause it's so good. Fires don't respect municipal boundaries,
It's
No.
true.
right?
Not at all.
They don't see a line on the map for where
Nope.
the responsibility changes.
Mm-hmm.
And so this partnership is so important. And this summer, a lot of work happened on that. We have a shared position with Canmore dealing with that. We brought in a Fire Smart position
Mm-hmm.
to help, you know,
Liaise all that
Yeah.
together, right? Which is
Mhm.
great. I think no one has said that on our show yet, that fires don't know municipal boundaries.
yeah.
But very true. I think collaboration is definitely the way
Mhm.
forward when we talk about
Yeah.
protecting these places, for sure.
And then just within the town site, sorry, I'm
No,
just such a
please,
chatterer.
please. Yeah, that's good.
Just within the town site, there's different neighborhoods that have taken leadership
For
in
sure.
protecting. themselves. And up in Valley View was
Mhm.
one of the early ones, the Tanga Ridge. Um, and Barb will probably tell you about that. She was a leader in that.
Right.
Going forward, in my own street, I talked to a neighbor, encouraged them to get a fire smart inspection,
Cool.
and they did, and they realized that their untreated cedar shingle roof was
Oh,
a
yeah.
risk to them.
Fair.
And the person on the fire smart inspection stood there and said, if there's a fire, this house has an asphalt roof. We have a hope of saving it.
Mhm.
You have an untreated cedar shingle roof.
Let's
We
go.
can't, we don't have enough resources to try to help you.
Fair.
We have to help the ones that we can. And so now the two of us are trying to spread it out
Well, it could be
through,
an
through,
eye-opening
through the community,
experience.
Right.
like moving it down the street, moving it across the street, moving it into the backyard.
Mm.
And when I got up last week, I think it was like 6:30 in the morning, I looked out my window and there was a fire. And my son called 911.
Mm.
Immediately, they'd already heard.
Oh,
And you're
okay.
looking at the fire and, you've got your plans that you sit around your table and think of. But now you've got a fire in front of you and you go, how quickly is that going to grow?
Yeah.
Because fires grow double in 30 to 60 seconds,
Mhm.
can double in 30 seconds. And so it's not just us we want to move. It's a time of day where our neighbors are sleeping. So I'm
Right.
calling my neighbors, bling, 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 like a lot. I called them 6 or 7 times to wake them up.
Oh boy.
And in the meantime, the fire department comes and the fire's extinguished. But that property had fires less than 2 weeks before,
Smart.
like less than 2 weeks before. And all these old, snaggly, dead branched conifers had been removed.
Nice.
Like you can trim them up 6 feet. That's the way to help
100%.
with it. You can
Yeah.
cut the dead branches out as they occur. But they were at the bottom of a hill, like it's an upgrade there.
Yeah.
And the fire, like,
100%.
and it was just amazing to see it and have like your little panic, how you deal with it. And oh my God, my Go Kit isn't quite as good as I thought it was because I don't have this in it. And I had half of my neighbors' phone numbers, but not their half duplex that was closer to the fire. I couldn't call them directly, and
I think
it
maybe
ended up being a learning lesson and not an evacuation or anything like
Right,
that.
right.
But just
well, that's it. Maybe
shows
like
importance of community support and spreading the word of fire smarting your property.
and again, from having a professional come and look at your home as a homeowner, you might not know that the
Mhm.
composition of
Yeah, no doubt.
the materials of your home might be more
Mhm.
susceptible, or again, that the fire department wouldn't have the resource to even try to help you.
No doubt.
Like that's got to be
The
an
fire
eye-opening.
department has a map of every untreated cedar shingle roof in this town.
Wild.
And that's why there's a program that, during a campaign, you start talking a lot about I,
Mhm.
when really you're a team
Yeah.
on council, but I'm going to use another I.
Yeah.
And that was the incentive program for people to switch out their untreated cedar roofs
Yeah.
for asphalts. And it was one of the things that I brought forward years ago
Mhm.
and got council support
Cool.
to help people because it's expensive.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
And those roofs last a long time. And if you're replacing it early, you've thought you were going to get X number of years more, and now you're not.
Yeah.
But the change to roofing material that allows the standing seam metal roofs now,
Mm.
which are really fire resistant, and the getting rid of helping people change out
Yeah, have
Their
financial
cedar
incentive
shaped
to.
roofs. Yeah, to
Well, I hate to cut
to do that.
everybody off with the
God,
fire
is it
smart,
time already?
but
If-
we are definitely out of time. We have 2 questions. We're gonna do it all in one.
okay.
A,
Yeah.
why should people vote for you?
hmm
And if reelected, what are you most hopeful for the future of Banff?
Okay. Well, obviously, I care. I have experience and knowledge of what we've been doing and what we want to keep forward working on. I work well with others. I try to build collaboration
Nice.
and respectful with others. And I think that's so important.
Mhm.
You
For
speak
sure.
to people from other municipalities and they say that their council's not like that. And that sounds so miserable.
No doubt.
We've had very respectful relationships over the years on council. To looking forward, we know some things are happening. the budget has to be supported, but I really believe the human use management framework moving forward. But it's not the only thing.
Yeah.
In the next term, I think we really have to continue to focus on the needs that came forward in the community social assessment and keep on an annual basis, keep moving forward on those targets too.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Very
fair
well
enough.
said. I feel like we could keep going for another hour easy.
So I know you guys are living your life with this broadcast right now during the campaign,
Oh yeah,
but I would love to meet with you again afterwards.
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think a continued relationship with council and just the
And,
Banff community
it
as a
doesn't
whole,
have to be
something
this
we're looking
formal, you know.
for. For sure.
Just
Just a little coffee or something like that, for sure.
yeah.
I think
or dog walk or
we're pretty connected with like general perception of people,
Mhm.
right? So I think that bridge is something that we're always down to help bridge with
Yeah.
the town council as far as
Yeah.
like rumors. Like we love squashing a rumor or
Yeah.
two.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
like,
I may not be there. I hope I am, but
Yeah.
I'd still like to maintain a connection.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much for taking the time to sit and chat with us. Like I said,
Okay.
lots of great ideas and lots of great stuff moving
Okay.
forward.
Can I speak out to
Please
this
do.
crowd?
Please do.
Okay. We have to thank these guys because they like look at the hours they're putting into this. Like we've talked for an hour.
Yeah.
You're talking to all the candidates.
Mhm.
They do all this prep work beforehand, and they have full-time jobs. So, thank you.
No, thank you, thank you. We appreciate
Hey, we
that.
love this place. We love chatting about it. Like I said, these conversations need to be having. I think this forum is the best way to reach more people and
Mhm.
to get people the knowledge that they need, not only in this election, but just to navigate life in Banff moving forward. So thank you so much for the kind words.
Ah.
For sure.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. We're gonna be back with you shortly here. Me and Matt, we're gonna maybe use the bathroom, have a quick little reset, maybe fresh coffee. Definitely a non-alcoholic shaft. Go pick yours up at Townhouse Liquor
Oh, heck
or
yeah.
the Rose and Crown. If it is your first time joining us, please hit the like and subscribe. Plenty more stuff coming for you, even beyond the election. We have lots.
Oh yeah, we're busy. We're busy this fall.
Lots on the schedule, lots planned. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in, guys. And like every week,
See you next Tuesday.